Hello and welcome to More Than Meets the Mic, a show that dives deep into the origins of your favorite Transformers creators and explores what they have coming down the line. Today's guest is an artist who's made her name known around the community for her one of a kind art style and wholesome depictions of your favorite Cybertronians, yes, even Decepticons. This wonderfully talented individual is someone I've had the pleasure of working with on many projects, and that is Cheesy Cryptid. Welcome to the show.
Hi, so glad to be here.
I'm
I'm
super
really
excited
nervous.
to. No, you're good. I'm super excited to even just be able to talk. Just think about that, chatting. We've worked on two projects now, and I have another one that I need to bug you about at some point.
Mm,
And I've been a huge fan of your art. I mean, a lot of your art is a lot of the inspiration from those audiobooks that I've created. It often comes down to, man, I wonder what it would look like if Cheesy drew this, and then I have to think up of a story after the fact to justify getting you to do it. I guess I don't need a story, but it helps. It helps. Now, Cheesy, your Instagram account has art dating all the way back to 2020, and it's
oh
it's
my
no
gosh.
doubt it's no doubt that you've been doing art way before that. But it wasn't until around November of 2024 that you posted some Transformers art, and you
Yeah.
blamed, as I quote, Transformers brain rot as being the
No.
source. And so the
Oh,
question to start off is, I'd love to hear just your personal story with Transformers, how you came to be a fan, and then the second question being, what was that specific brain rot that got you caught up?
growing up, I think my first ever exposure to Transformers were the Bay films, the
Hmm.
Bayverse films, and I was really young back then, and I didn't really like them because back then I always thought of them as like, oh, boy movies.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of are to an extent.
And then I think the uh most of the exposure after that were like from the TV shows,
Hmm.
Transformers Prime and then Transformers Animated. I really like those shows because um these were the shows that would pop up after school and I could just like plop in front of the TV, and what I would usually do is that I would take a piece of paper and then I would just like draw in front of the TV
Hmm.
while I would be watching the episodes. And I remember that Transformers Prime was like, wow, this is such a big kid, grown up kid show because of the
Hmm.
art style. And I always told myself like one day I'll be able to make something like that. And they're gonna be cool and they're gonna have like really angsty stories. And yes. Um, and then fast forward, I wasn't really much into the fandom until Transformers 1 happened.
Hmm.
And I have to admit, I wasn't it didn't really give me much of an impression from the trailer. But I had a
Hmm.
friend who really wanted to watch it with me, so I was like, okay, yeah, let's watch it. And then suddenly, in the middle of the film, there was like this thing that happened. Like there was a spark that actually got me to sit down, and then I went, wait a minute, this cooks.
Yeah, it
This
does.
cooks.
Yeah.
This movie is really good. And then at the end of the film, I think the most impactful scene, oh, spoilers. The most impactful scene was when Orion became Optimus Prime, and I was sitting there and I went, I there's something inside of me that has to draw.
Hmm.
And I think I guess my first um my first fan arts have always been drawing original characters. So of course I wanted to make my own Transformer. Like who wouldn't?
Oh yeah.
Um I was very intimidated with the idea of drawing mecha
Hmm.
because I didn't like drawing lines or boxes. It wasn't really kind of like my thing. I like things to look more like flowy or like organic. But
Mhm.
then I gave myself the shot of like trying the human formers.
Mhm.
So I was okay, so this is like a friendly way for me to um participate in the fandom without trying to nosedive into mecha art. And then I created my character. Um, s- Her name's Azurite, and like
Mhm.
I haven't drawn much of her, but like she's very precious to me.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, I think I tried to practice mecha art by just doing portrait shots of like the characters I like
Mhm.
until I started to explore what I can do to make it look more artistic, what I can use to make it stand out more. So I tried to study a lot of the works from the comics and from other fan artists. December came in
Mhm.
and the Shockwave fan art happened.
The Shockwave fan art that just exploded, huh?
It just exploded, yeah. Um, should I tell that story now or
No, I
is there
tell it
another
now.
question?
No, no, no.
Okay.
Tell it now. We got the brain rot part out of the way, and I'll say I completely agree with you. Even I, as a diehard fan, saw the trailer and thought, "Ooh, maybe I'll skip it." And then watching it was like, "Whoa!" As you said,
Whoa,
this cooks. This is really
this
good.
cooks.
Yeah, but no, I want to hear the Shockwave story because I know the art, but I want to hear the
Yeah.
story behind it now.
So, it was actually the night after I went on vacation with my family. So I took a lot of photos, and it was actually based on a scene where we visited this outdoor garden place, and we took a lot of photos. And it was actually kind of a cloudy day, so so like the sky was kind of misty and it was cold, but there were these flowers, they were so bright. And then I took a photo. And then there was this like one specific photo at an angle that made me think, huh, what if I put a transformer there?
Hmm.
And I didn't know what came over me because it was such a different art style from what I've been used to. And frankly enough, it was actually a really, really quick painting.
Hmm.
It almost feels like a study. So a study is when you try to copy what you see. You can add a little bit of your art style in it. From what I remember, I don't know why I chose Shockwave. I think it's because the color of the purple would look pretty in the pretty against the gray clouds. I just remember seeing that I don't see much about I don't see much on creepy Transformers art.
Hmm.
And I kind of like the idea of making an eerie atmosphere when it comes to Transformers because Transformers media, they hardly dabble on the horror or like eerie aspect of
Hmm.
what it could be. It's always like spectacle, it's always action, it's always big space adventures. But it's always but they never really explored much about the implications of how scary they could be
Right.
in some angles or in different perspectives.
Hmm.
So, in order for me to emphasize that eeriness, I drew this guy like in front of Shockwave holding his phone up. Like I was like, "Whoa, there's a transformer." And
Hmm.
then Shockwave would be aiming his weapon, which actually I got a lot of trouble for because people were
Oh no.
saying that Shockwave already has the arm. Why would he have a gun also
No.
pointing at the guy?
I'm pretty sure
And then,
there's a Generation 1 episode
yeah,
where he's
it
holding
was
himself.
like
Yeah.
a gun. Yeah, there was a gun. And I think I immediately posted it after I made that painting. And gosh, the numbers it made surprised
Yeah.
me so much. I realized that, wait a minute, is this a new chapter? And I think the rest is history because of that. Although
Yeah.
there's this other elephant in the in
Uh-oh.
the Transformers art. Well, bigger than an elephant. Ever since then, the next day I started working on the Starscream fan art,
Right.
and that's when I started to become a little more purposeful with my art because people really love the eerie aspect of what the Shockwave fan art did.
Mhm.
And I told myself, okay, as a fine art student, how can I make it a little bit more meaningful? So I really didn't think much of making it like a popular art piece again. I just wanted it to be something that can emphasize the eeriness. So I thought of the idea. I thought of about like manipulating the scale
Mhm.
of Starscream. So he's I made him like
He's
really,
huge.
really big. He's
Yeah.
huge. He's
Yeah.
bigger than a building. And I wanted to emphasize on like how small someone would feel when they see a very threatening robotic alien looming over them. It's like a kaiju size,
Mhm.
as many would say. And I remember that's when all the angry comments came in saying, "It's not that big. He's not that big.
Mhm.
Is this the TF1? Are these the TF1 leak scales guide?"
Yeah.
But it wasn't really about that. Oh gosh, this is gonna sound really nerdy, but um, the reason why I started to um, super scale a lot of my a lot of the characters in my Transformers fan art is because of um, this one class I had um, about Asian art history. You know how those East Asian landscape art, you're familiar with how those look like, right? It's always
Yes.
natural landscapes, giant mountains, very giant trees.
Yes.
And someone from the Philippines, it's actually East Asian art is very close to home.
Mhm.
And a lot of our local arts is inspired by Asian art as a whole. So the reason why those objects of nature, like trees or mountains or waterfalls, the reason why they're so big is because it's meant to emphasize how humans just nature owns the whole world is nature and we're just living in it.
Mhm.
So humans, it's a humbling experience really to recognize that fact that the world is so huge, the world is so big, and we must respect it. So there's like this calming feeling. It's humbling. It's a humbling feeling. When I entered the fandom and when I tried doing the Starscream fan art and like all mostly the evil Decepticon Arrival of the Decepticons art series, I wanted to do the opposite of that. So what if in the perspective of humans, the concept of evil robots from space arriving to your home is actually a very terrifying concept. Like you don't know who you don't know who these aliens are. You don't
Mhm.
know um why they're here, why they're looming over you. And it makes you realize that okay, the universe is so much bigger than we ever imagined. Like the world is big, but space is infinite. It's actually one of the main inspirations I did for the arrival of the Decepticons because it's the Decepticons. They're very big, and there's always a human or two in front of them, like staring up at them in shock and in awe, as
Mhm.
if um, and all the Decepticons are just staring down at the humans, and
Right.
you don't know why. You don't know what they're about to do to humans, or like what's the next thing that's gonna happen. And um, I know a lot of people say that oh, it's really unnerving to see them like super scaled or like being inaccurately scaled because they transform into vehicles. But that's not really the point. The
Right.
point is that the fact that this work made you feel eerie.
Mhm.
This work feels eerie. This work made you feel scared. That's the point.
Right.
The work is supposed to speak for itself, even if it's a little bit inaccurate to how the characters are supposed to be represented.
Right. It's art.
And
It's supposed
yeah,
to make you
it's
feel
art.
something.
And I guess the reason why I started with the Decepticons, it's because I wanted to show that there is like a looming um yeah, the kaiju aspect.
Right.
But it's also inspired based on like why would you place the humans at such a vulnerable perspective?
Mm.
Um well, I don't know if I should mention this, but it's actually also based on like well, people would usually say it's not that deep, it's just Transformers.
I
But
can't stand
it's
it when
also
people say that. I just want to let you know. People
it's
say that all the time on my videos, and I'm like, it can be more than that,
can't
though.
be that deep. I the reason why Transformers is such a happy like series, it's action packed and
Mhm.
it talks about making a home for yourselves. Um like after like being war torn for so many years, millennia actually, for the
Mhm.
Autobots and the Decepticons. But I wanted to show at first I was really into the fandom. So I was exploring a bit of the media one step at a time. I wanted to draw what would be like for the humans when the Autobots or the Decepticons first arrived on Earth, because there's it's always a different iteration per
Mhm.
series, but I could still see the in the perspective of the humans, they were caught up in this war, and most of the time they don't know what's happening, and most of the time they're the biggest victims when the biggest victims when there's clashes between the Autobots and the Decepticons. So, okay, back to the super scale. Basically, as someone from the Philippines, it's a lot of our history is about being caught or our people being caught up with foreign interventions or wars that we never wanted to be a part of, but then here we are, or
Mhm.
like bigger forces bullying smaller forces, and it's always the people, the little guys who always get um, caught up in the midst of um, let's say conflict that no one ever really asked for.
Right.
So um, I wanted to represent, at least for the Decepticons, that there's always bigger forces that are looming over the little guys, and most of the time I don't want to make it seem like we're helpless, but most of the time that is the feeling that those are the at like how you would feel when you do face like
Mhm.
aliens or like invading forces that you don't know what their ulterior motives are. You don't know why they're
Right.
here. Yet they hold so much power just from how they look at you alone. Sometimes you could see it in the gaze of um, what they tend to do
Mhm.
with your home, or what they intend to do at the expense of everything else.
Right.
So it really began with that. So I started off with the arrival of Decepticons. It's always these big, powerful looking, ominous beings looming over innocent, familiar scenes. And then after that, I explored okay, maybe let's try doing super scaled Autobots this time.
Mhm.
And I got really different results. When I started drawing Optimus with the hot air balloons, then people
Mhm.
started saying, "Oh, I feel protected. Oh, I feel
Mhm.
comforted that there's this guardian now among with us, and he's curious about the world, and he's he loves Earth and he loves to protect people. And I actually had like an eye-opening experience that um like at some point people would feel scared that Decepticons super scaled would be so scary looking, duh. But
Yeah.
then they would also feel comforted when I give the treatment to Bumblebee or Optimus or RC. Now they see them as like protective forces. They see them as guardians. And well, some of them would say that they're like godlike beings, but those are just few far between.
Right.
And suddenly I was like, wow, maybe I really don't have to make everything so scary because if they feel comforted, if they feel protected, if they feel like there's someone out there who's looking out for them, then that actually makes the art 10 times more meaningful.
Mhm.
And I try to make a balance of like artwork that feels a little scary when it's supposed to be scary and art fan art that's meant to be comforting and give off this protective atmosphere, this warm, comforting, and protective atmosphere to the viewer. And yeah, I just rolled along. I rolled with those concepts, and people really like them. And yeah, the rest is history, really.
And now we're
Oh, that
here.
was really long. Yeah, we're here.
No, it's good. So, you know, in the process of that, in the process of finding, that these super scaled
Mm,
Decepticons kind of give, this kind of terrifying vibe off, especially kind of covered in this haze and this, these clouds and shadows that you had done, and then discovering, oh, I can use this same kind of style to bring a sense of hope, or as you said,
yeah.
guardianship. Was there one or the other that you leaned towards doing more often, or did you just draw whatever your heart came to?
At at the beginning, I really want to explore doing more of the scary stuff because I do have like a place in my heart for like scary, spooky stuff.
Hmm.
And then I think the spooky stuff is for more like fun if I really want to express myself artistically. But
Hmm.
I think the warm stuff is for the other side. So if there's a sun, there's also a moon.
Right.
And I think there's just like balancing what feels right at the moment. At some point, one of my recent works, I just realized that I don't, at some point, I prefer doing more warm or comforting artworks because there are times where you just don't want to add to the anxieties into um, the climate right now. Or
Right.
people, I feel like people shouldn't be any more scared.
Hmm.
So I started practicing how can I make my artworks bring more hope into the people when they see it, or I don't want them to like open Instagram and they go, "Oh gosh, I'm scared."
Right. Right. You want
I,
you want to provide
I
that guardianship. Almost.
yeah, I think people need a little bit more of that
Mhm.
nowadays,
No,
if
I
that
would.
makes sense.
No, it does. I would agree. But I think you also do such a great job of being able to take those concepts and balance them. I think of your medieval piece of Shockwave
Mm,
versus the knight, and yet you also have
yeah,
a version of that knight fighting a cat Shockwave. I remember seeing that and being like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. This is amazing."
chunk wave.
Well, is there a story behind that specific piece, or was it just, "Oh, I'm gonna make him a cat, make him a chonker"?
Uh, I remember the cat shockwave just got popular in Twitter. Like people were drawing him left and right. And I think um the current one right now is cat Ultra Catmus just Transformers being turned into cats. And then I realized, okay, maybe I can I can quickly make an additional painting based on the Shockwave versus the Knight and just turn him into a cat to join in the
Mhm.
trend.
Yeah.
That was just
And
for shits and giggles, really.
yes, yeah. Well, and that that leads me to another question is that you've done quite a bit of kind of almost crossover work too with these pieces. A lot of medieval knight type of
Yeah,
stuff, which I love because I've always loved a medieval aspect. But you've also crossed over with things like Lord of the Rings. You did your one with
yeah,
Optimus and Superman and Supergirl. But the
yeah.
real question I have is What's a what's a crossover with Transformers that you think is hasn't been done yet that should be done? Or what's one and I don't want to spoil anything for anything you're working on, but are there any crossovers that you think of in the terms of, man, how come nobody else has done that?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Bringing back the medieval Transformer stuff. I I have a before there was Transformers, I was a big fantasy nerd,
Uh-huh.
and my heart belongs to Tolkien. And
Yes. No, absolutely. No, I'll tell you that these past 2 months I have done nothing but listen to people on YouTube talk about Tolkien's work. I absolutely love
Ah,
his work as
I
well.
love
So
that.
I'm exact. My heart is exactly where your heart is, and that's why I think there should be more medieval knight and fantasy Transformer stuff.
Yes. Um, I think the medieval stuff came around when I realized, okay, I'm kind of exhausted with drawing a little bit of the spooky stuff. I
Hmm.
wanted something to merge both the fantasy side of my art or and my interest with my current fixation.
Hmm.
And I realized mid Transformers hasn't really explored much about time traveling aspect or concept of them going throughout different periods of time.
Hmm.
Then I remembered that the G1 episode, Starscream in King Arthur's court. And I
Yes.
realized, oh my gosh, this is perfect. It's both creepy and it's kind of fun.
Yes.
And I that's when I made like a whole series of like what would what would it be like if they arrived at the medieval period or perhaps in a fantasy medieval setting? Because the two genres are couldn't be any more different,
Hmm.
but it's still it's a it's a cute concept, really.
Right.
It's more lighthearted. That series of my art is a little bit more lighthearted,
Yeah.
and most of the time I did most of the time I just use that series as an excuse to practice more landscapes and buildings and
Hmm.
more character concept arty pieces. And I really like that I was able to draw more humans because at some point I felt like I had this rut where I just wanted to draw more humans now. So I
Hmm.
kind of emphasize. Okay, so this is like the rule of thumb when I try to do either a spooky or a warm art. If a human is prominent in the composition, it's not spooky. But if
Hmm.
the human is just a silhouette or it's just so tiny, you can't see them anymore, you can't even see their expressions, then it's supposed to evoke something a little bit more eerie.
Okay.
So, yeah, um, I really like the medieval series because I was able to merge my a lot of my fandoms into it, and
Hmm.
it's very comforting because like everyone loved it, and I felt so happy because I can have the best of both worlds
Hmm.
because I get to draw mecha and I also get to draw humans at last again,
Yeah.
and I get to be more colorful with my artworks because of it. And yeah, I got to practice a bunch of other stuff that I don't really draw much. And I like that I could get, I have an excuse to just put a transformer in anything.
Well, now you're making me feel like I need to start writing audiobooks that take place in medieval times with Transformers, that we can do more of that art.
I love that. Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to
Um,
finish out the series I'm thinking of. That way we can move on to that.
yeah, it's
That would
so
be
fun.
that would be
That's
amazing.
why
And
when you reached out with
mhm.
your first project, I was so hyped because like, oh my gosh, this is everything. I've made it.
Oh,
This is it's that's why I really admired your works too when your videos, they speak for themselves. They're amazing. And then when you reached out that you're also writing original stories, I was like, thank you, whoever's out there.
well, I have to again. I have to thank you because it really was your artwork that spoke to me so much that I think everybody who loves any type of storytelling has stories in their heads. And I had all these like, oh, this would be neat, or oh, what would it be like if this was the case? And it wasn't really until I had been following your art, but I really sat down and really kind of studied your work that I was like, oh man, this idea I have in my head, wouldn't it be so cool if this artist drew it? And I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. I thought, well, let me reach out to her just to see if she would, and you said yes, and then that was the moment I realized I actually have to make this now. Which was great for me because it was, hey, I've committed into this with somebody else. We have to make this project happen. And I had done a little bit of work in the space before with audiobooks and projects like that. And I will admit that in the process of editing it and putting it all together, I was in a rut, and then you sent the art over, and I was like, this is something I'm gonna have to keep doing with Cheesy, because this process is just so much fun. And then that led into our second piece, yours truly, Power Glide. But
Yeah.
that makes me want to ask the question was that that first project we worked on, which was Atonement with that Optimus Prime piece. I'm trying to recall back, but I'm pretty sure I feel so bad for saying this. I sent some reference photos, but I think one of them was an AI photo, which I'm super ashamed of
Oh,
because
it's
I
all
looked up
right.
I looked up man sitting on hill with town in background, and I sent it and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
like this, and realized, oh man. So looking back on that first
It's all
experience,
right.
was that a help or a hindrance to have reference material like that for what was in my head?
Actually, reference materials, they're really helpful for artists. Um, Sometimes the AI slop just gets caught in the
It's bad.
crossfire, and
Yes.
it's really, yeah, it's bad it's been prevalent around like
Mm.
websites and spaces where clients are supposed to like look for reference artists and clients are supposed
Mhm.
to look for reference photos. So it's all right.
I've been forgiven, thank
Um,
you. I didn't do it on their second project. I made sure. We'll get to that though.
mm-mm. Oh, the second project.
Well, I guess we can talk about it. I don't know. I probably still have the video somewhere, but if I do,
Yeah.
I'll put it on screen for the viewers. But cheesy, I sent you. I was sitting at home one day. I'm pretty sure the script was completed. I try my hardest to have a script for you ready. That way you can read through it if you want to kind of get an idea of what the art should be. But I just had such a vague idea in my head, and as somebody who I'll tell you, took art classes in college and failed them. um,
Oh
I was
no.
trying to figure out how do I convey this, and thought, let me just hop on. I had an iPad. It's basically MS Paint on the iPad. So let me just hop on here and let me just screen record and draw with my finger stick figures
Oh my
and send
gosh.
it to Cheesy. And I remember sending it to you and looking at the video and being like, she's gonna text me back and be like, "What are you talking about? What
No.
are you? What is this?" But thankfully, you were able
No.
to take that chicken scratch and turn it into just an absolutely beautiful piece. Um, and so
No, that's the thing.
yeah,
Like same wavelength, like we see each other.
yeah, yes, yeah,
We
yeah. Well, hopefully, having the script as well somewhat helped,
Yeah.
to because I'll tell you this. I mean, the viewers are going to hear this, but this is your first time hearing it. That next project that I have, the next audiobook, um, I have the script done, but I have absolutely zero idea what the art should look like, and I don't know if that's going to be a hindrance or a help to you to let you loose on that. I guess we'll figure out when we get there.
That sounds
Um,
exciting.
yeah.
It's actually the more uncertain an art piece, the more uncertain you are with like the direction of an art piece. Most of the time, they actually produce the most like jaw-dropping concepts when
Mm-hmm.
you have that freedom and you have like that space to actually think outside
Yes.
um beyond plans. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm
no, and
excited.
that's what I wanted to move towards because, when we worked on Atonement, I feel like on my side it was very this is what I'm looking for, this needs to be here. And then with Power Glide with his story, it was more, oh, they're kind of doing this in this location and this would be cool. And then this third project, which is not named yet, the I'm trying to make sure not to say anything. The characters who are in
Mm,
it, I just know, yeah, these are the characters. This is the story, and I'm super excited to send that off to you just to see what you come up with because um, this third story is not the last. There's plenty more, and so as long as you always have time, I will
yeah,
continue to work on these
no
projects because
problem.
they've been so much fun to do.
No problem. I feel the same way. These projects were actually like one of the best things that happened to me ever since I joined the fandom. And I always do watch parties with my friends
Oh,
whenever,
nice!
um, yeah,
I didn't know
and they're
that.
so happy. They're always so happy and they love the stories and they love how it's so different from everything they've seen so far in the fandom. And like, I have friends who aren't even in the Transformers fandom, yet they're so hooked on like the videos we make and the stories we made.
Yeah.
Like, even if they like have no clue about the lore of Transformers or everything, those stories alone already spoke so much and
Mm.
touched them deeply that they really they really love what the community can do when like they band together and join together to make all of these creative projects come to life.
No, I really
And
appreciate
it's
that.
so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate hearing that. They're fun projects to do, and they're brought to life, by your artwork, by the wonderful voice cast, and everybody in that. And thankfully it's not a project that is singularly just my voice because if it was, the art would not be great. The lines would not be great. I think that's what makes those projects so much fun is there's so much collaboration in the process of making the visual. Now would I love to be able to pay you to make them fully, have 1,000 different photos per scene? Absolutely. There's been a few times where I've thought, how many pieces of art can I get away with for this one?
I
And
mean, yeah, I
we'll
won't
have to
say
look at
no
that at
to.
some point. We'll have to look at that at some point. Yeah. This next
Yeah.
one is probably about the same length size as Power Glides. But the
Hmm.
one that I'm hoping to do after that will definitely require more than just one piece of art. But who knows when that'll be? Maybe even next year. These take a decent amount of time to put together on all sides.
Yeah. It sounds exciting. Like, I can't wait.
Well, as soon as we're off this call, I'll probably send you the script. So, but
Yeah.
the viewer won't get to see it for probably another 6 months, unless I speed myself up on it. So,
Let's keep them on their toes. Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, I've heard that they enjoy it, but we can't let them know. We can't let them know
A
what's coming
secret.
up. I know, but
Yeah.
again, now I feel like I have to do some medieval series stories because that
Yes.
really is some of my favorite work of yours because I'll even admit that sci-fi and fantasy mixing them together is I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve, but I love them separately so much. But the way that you've been able to incorporate, Transformers into these, like the one of Megatron sitting down by the cottage. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. Like, how could I not
Oh,
love this one? Um, or I believe there's one of RC walking by, and there's some
yeah.
ladies
And
waving.
princesses.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
It's oh
I
man,
love that too.
it's just it's such amazing stuff, and it's such a way to combine, like you said, two worlds that are almost opposing in some ways, and just meld them together.
I really appreciate that. It's very heartwarming, and this community actually um changed so much in my life. I
Hmm.
owe a lot to this fandom and
Hmm.
to the friends I've met and made along the way through my artworks. And I can see myself doing this for many more years to come.
Good.
Hopefully.
Well, I hope so because I need many more years worth of stuff to look at from you, and we've got many more years worth of stories to tell as well. You and I.
Hmm, I agree.
Well, cheesy, as we kind of round out, I have one final question. But before we get to that, I want to give this opportunity for you to plug yourself. If there's any website or social media that you
Mm.
want to encourage people to go to, if there's a place to do commissions or buy art, or anything like that, this is kind of your time to plug anything that you've got going on.
Oh, so I have my Instagram, I have my Twitter. If they can also find my Tumblr, it's right there too. I same name, Cheesy Cryptid, and well, currently my commissions are closed right now, but I do have a waitlist open if anyone's interested. And I don't only do mecha artworks. I also do OC content um, of my characters. I release them every now and then in Instagram and Twitter as well if people are interested in reading about witches, or sometimes if they're also interested in seeing comic um, comic related works. And if ever um, you guys are around, if you spot me in a cafe somewhere drawing, if you know where I usually hang out, if they're from the Philippines too, you can come say hi, and you can see um, what artwork I'm working on right now. And yeah, um, I hope everyone continues to support artists in the Transformers fandom, and I hope you guys also continue to support Delta and his stories as well.
No, thank you. Well, thank you, Cheesy. The final question is it's just something that I personally have to know from your Instagram. What is your issues with cherries? Underneath your Meet the Artist, bleh,
No!
it says cherries. I mean, you've got like candy, spicy food, but what's your beef with cherries?
Oh gosh. Um, okay. I don't usually dislike any fruit or vegetable, but I draw the line at cherries. I really
Really?
don't like what they taste.
What?
I tried. I tried to. When I was younger, I really hated them. So, you know, I thought it's just a taste bud thing. So when I
Hmm.
tried them again, I still don't like them. I'm sorry, cherry lovers. I'm really
Cherry.
sorry.
It honestly, it's fine because I don't like eating cherries. I just like cherry flavored things, which are probably not really the same. It doesn't even count. It's. But I'm with you. I'm not a cherry person either. So don't worry. I think we both have to apologize to the audience for not liking cherries, but that's just the way it is.
We're sorry, cherry lovers.
We're sorry, everybody. Cheesy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so
Just
much for
thank you.
having me, Delta. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.